the insanity. That's what I think this is. I think this is insanity. I think this is a wonderful insanity, which I love. But I am seeing this at levels that are so deep, so complex, and so incredibly fascinating that they are oftentimes missed because of this mindless banter that is going on back and forth, back and forth. It is just the silliest thing. I am embarrassed for people, embarrassed people that I thought were so smart, who said, listen, you know, I just expected more from you. I really did. I really, and I don't want to mention names. I'm trying not to do that because let them get their own publicity. But you know, when we had this fellow Zoran Mamdani, who was the mayor of New York, and when he won, people that I thought were really smart politically, were saying, "This is, I can't believe this. This is a communist." I said, "What is the matter with you? What are you talking about? He won fair and square." The Republicans did. Do you know how elections work? And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's like, what are you talking about? They're communists. Go, they're not communists. Stop with this rhetoric. Where are you from? What country are you from? What planet are you from? That's not what's going on here. I don't know what happened to people. I don't know what happened. I swear to you. And I'm not just saying this. This is so obvious. Let me give you a little background here. In 1963, when JFK was assassinated, there was a guy named Mark Lane. Mark Lane was the quote conspiracy theorist. They didn't even have a name. Well, they had a name, but it didn't have the pejorative later, which I'll explain to you why. He came out and they said, "What are you talking about? You're crazy." And the new word now is demonic. Demonic. Candace Owens is demonic. And once you say something, I'm changing the subject. I heard somebody the other day was talking to me about a conversation they were having with their girlfriend. It was a younger person. I said, "Well, what happened?" And it was a bit heated. And this young man says, so I said, "Dude, what are you, dude?" And I said, "Let me ask him, do you say dude to a woman?" Yeah, I said, "What's the matter with you?" Because that's what people say. It just caught on. Another woman, very smart, highly educated, used dude. So like this, words, phrases, styles become almost to the point of, I don't know what the word is. We're just addicted to it. We just do it. When anybody said anything recently about AIPAC, Israel, Gaza, Netanyahu, you're an anti-Semite, anti-Semitic. Well, that ran its course. And now the new one is that Candace Owens is demonic. She's evil. And so there's a scrum. There's a scrum. And if you've ever seen birds, if you've ever seen murmurations, they're called. These are starlings that move. You see people like schools of fish. They're all saying she's demonic. And I'm saying, demonic? You mean she's the demon? Yeah, she's a demonic. Why are you saying this? Because the same way people say dude. The same way people say anti-Semitic. They just say something. The same way you're welcome has been replaced with no worries or no problem. That kind of thing. We just with that. The same way that tattoos overnight, people became covered with hideous dermal graffiti just because it became the thing to do. No interest in whether it looked good or not. It looks trashy, stupid, low rent. But they don't know. It doesn't matter. People will one day cut their fingers off, like the Yakuza, just because somebody somewhere, some star, somebody. We've been through gold teeth. We've been through pierced noses. So the news thing right now is there's two schools of thought. Number one, you get these people, these morons, who maybe this is great. They sit in their car. There's something funny about somebody sitting in their car. I don't know why. I've never done a video in my car. Never. That remind me of those COVID days when people would just sit and scream and just start yelling. I just can't do it. I have a real problem. I just can't do it. I can't say you guys either. I can't do it. I just can't. It's one of these things where I just can't do it. I hate it. I don't know why. I'm funny that way. So, what this is kind of a different story. So you have one group of people who are just this fellow who is a commentator who always looks like he's in the middle of the worst passing of egesta. He always looks like it's a Valsalva maneuver. You know, when people, do you ever see a baby who's dropping a load in a diaper? Looks like, what's the matter with you? Oh, I know what you're doing. Oh, I know what you're doing. You know, that's what he looks like. He's passing a hockey puck. He always, and this is his concern look. And he's I can't believe there's no transparency. And I would say, dude, the law is not about transparency. We have motions to dismiss, motions to suppress, motions in limine, 403 evidence. Remember I mentioned 403 way back when. Now we're talking about the 14th Amendment due process considerations. You can only, we don't want transparency. We have a Fourth Amendment requirement where if you violate the Fourth Amendment, you will not be able to use that evidence. This is called the exclusionary rule. Map against Ohio was in 1968. This is absolute. This is axiomatic. When you violate certain rules, when you don't read Miranda, you suppress the statement. If they're in custody and they're being interrogated, this just goes without saying. Do you understand what's going on here? Do I have to remind people? The law is not about, hey, whatever you want, let it in. No. There are certain reasons why things are redacted. Now, redacted has a kind of a bad attitude, but there are some things that are, believe it or not, are state secrets. We used to be, as prosecutors and defense especially, we were very careful. We don't want the name of a confidential informant to be released at trial because they could be killed, or an undercover police officer, or children's names, or I remember one time, I'll never forget this. I represented a guy who was charged with running a brothel. Well, it was a tanning salon or something or other. But anyway, he was charged with running a brothel. And one of the guys that they pulled over was this man who was terrified that his wife would find out. And I and the prosecutor took great efforts to say, I'm not here to ruin marriages, or that's your business. I'm not. The truth would have been to let her know. But no, you know what I mean? Just life is like that. There's an old expression in Sicilian that says, if you can get in trouble for saying a little, think what happens if you say a lot. You know whose only consideration people should have right now? Tyler Robinson. The Constitution only applies to Tyler Robinson. Now, Utah has made some considerations for the victim representative, namely Erica. Good. I think one of the biggest problems that we ever had, this was the most important, is that victims were often forgotten. We had at our office years ago, we had a victims kind of a counselor where somebody would call up and say, "Can you?" And this is before email, but now it's better. But sometimes people would say, "Whatever happened to my case?" Oh, he pled. He did? They didn't call me? That guy who was arrested, who was stalking my daughter, what about him? Oh, he's out. He's out? Nobody even cares about victims. Nobody. What do I do? Where do I go? Do I go? The victims were just forgotten. Now, while they're not expressly referred to in the Constitution, they should be considered as well. I've got no problem with, obviously, with Charlie's family or Tyler's family or Erica or anybody. I don't have any beef. I don't have a beef with Erica at all. I don't know where this comes from. Some people just hate her because it's that Mean Girls thing. They hate her because I don't know what, because she's popular. Or who knows? She's irrelevant in this thing. She's not a part of this. She shows up. She doesn't show up. Who cares? I mean, sometimes I want to say, listen, dude, lighten up. She's not the enemy. Just let her go. Let her go. Okay? Now, another thing we have to do, please, let's think about Fed slop. Lighten up. The word means, and I already hate that word. This isn't Fed slop. These aren't the feds. I know. Fed slop, this is the state, doesn't matter. And receipts. He's got the receipts. Stop this. Stop using, if you use a word, maybe once a week. Maybe once a week. A dear friend of mine by the name of Against Better Judgment once said, sorry I'm late. This trial has been wild. What do you think of the judge? Horrible. Horrible. Weak, impuissant, not fey, feckless, timorous, not sure. No. He was appointed in May of last year, just over a year. This dude isn't going to do anything to affect, because you're appointed and then you're on the ballot, whatever it is, for retention. You know, and we'll get into the whole thing about it. He's not going to do it. This guy, it's like, listen, dude, stop pretending we're just grant probable cause and say, that's it. Let's move on. Not impressed at all. Not impressed at all. This is the worst case. I'm telling you this, not because, I'm Mr. Lawyer. I've seen this before. The judge will call you in and say, what do you have? What are you trying to do? Tell me what your case is. Your Honor, I've got, first of all, this one guy, Bagley, whatever, who said, what did the first dude say? Bagby, what did he say? I don't know. You found a bullet on the other roof? What? Or around? Why is he there? What are you doing? What did he accomplish? Well, I saw somebody. I think it was... Why is he here? Listen, I'm not trying to be cute. Why was he here? What was the purpose of this? What was he trying to accomplish? I don't know. Now, Hull or whatever, this guy was a little bit better. The British fellow, hello, yes. The DNA person, okay. But the judge would have said, hi, Mrs. DNA. Hi, how are you? Let me ask you something. What is she going to say? She is going to say that on this rag, we found DNA from Tyler and from Junebug or Luna or the Fuzzy Wuzzy or Woolly Bully or whatever it was. Okay. Are you going to object to it? Yeah, good. Objection noted. And you're good. Good. All right. Thank you. Duly noted. I'll accept it. I'll note your objection. This is a preliminary hearing. We're not going to argue DNA and alleles. Thank you very much. Good. Have a nice day, ma'am. You're free. That's it. A trial? No. Preliminary hearing? Yes. Thank you. Have a nice day. What are you going to do? I found this holster. Thank you. Put it in for the box. Have a nice day. You object. You like it. Good. Next. What else do we have? Well, we got a video. Okay. What the hell is that? Oh, that's let me guess. You don't think it's Tyler, right? Okay, you object, and you think it is. Good. Okay, let it in. Thank you. Objection noted. Next. What else do you have? Well, we've got the woman from the Ring camera. Bring it in. Thank you. You object. You don't. Great. Bring it in. Next. What else we got? Okay, I got it. Terrific. Based upon the foregoing and noting all of the objections, which, by the way, you have preserved, and this in no wise does this in any wise preclude you from bringing up this objection later on, it comes in for purposes of the preliminary hearing. Thank you very much. Congratulations. You have established probable cause. Mr. Robinson, you're headed for not trial, for arraignment. You haven't even entered your plea. That's it. I can do this in an hour. That's it. You're going to object. Yep, object. Because lawyers are always worried about, did I object? We had one judge was great. He objected for you, and you object, right? Yeah, and you, thank you. And, Your Honor, we're going to call the Father Constance from the, and you're going to object, right? Yes. You don't think it's relevant, do you? Yes. Very good. Duly noted. Thank you. You know, it's not, when you object, it's not why you object. I mean, to an extent, you can say object, relevancy, objection, privilege, objection, violation, or fine. But you don't have to go into the legal reason. And in Pacific 223 Pacific 2nd, he said, oh God, don't go through the trial. The Supreme Court said this, and then the dissent, and they were doing these. Did you hear the one judge, the one lawyer correct the judge about this French pronunciation? What are you doing? We had a guy one time, a great lawyer, who would stand up, and his objections were, "Oh no, you don't." And the judge, I forget, he goes, "Oh no, you don't? Oh no, you don't what? What is that?" And we're laughing. This is during the trial. He goes, "You mean you object? Yeah. What'd you say?" "Don't I object? I don't know what 'oh no, you don't' mean." He actually said that. That's it. You did a fine job. The judge, a good judge, make sure I'm going to take care of you. You don't do anything stupid and say something bad about me, and I won't say anything bad about you. I'll make you, the defense lawyer, always look good in front of your client. In fact, whenever there's a plea, the judge always says, "And are you satisfied with the services of your lawyer?" "Yes." "Thank you." We used to call that a 3850 motion. This is this post-conviction relief. Well, you said you were satisfied. What's this motion afterwards? "Oh, ineffective assistance of counsel." The judge asked you, "Oh, what am I supposed to say?" You're supposed to tell him the truth. So this is the way we shake hands. This is the way we don't make a big deal over certain things. Somebody wants a continuance, you let them do it. You don't act like a dick. This is all a waste of time. This is needless. And all of this ridiculous stuff is coming in a moment. Another dear friend of mine says, Insight, by the way, is my friend's name, who says Tyler is supposed to be the fall guy, but maybe told to be just a distraction. His demeanor shows he's benefiting. I don't know. Thank you. I don't know about his demeanor. I don't even know. New members are wonderful. I don't know what demeanor is. I don't know. He just sits there. He's bored. It's boring. I think he's looking okay. I mean, he's a little weird. And I kind of like that. See, I want him to look weird. I want to say, give him a collar that's too big, that tie doesn't work. You know, he's got this kind of like tonsure, this bald spot. He looks old. Just let him sit there like, that's the killer. That's him. That's the guy. That's the one. Let him sit there. Let him just, And if he looks over and says, yeah, he smiled for a moment. Oh my God. See what happens? Everybody else glommed on. Just like saying Fed slop, receipts, dude. They just jumped. Did you see? Did you believe? Because the people who are doing most of this stuff are stupid. It's like, here's a bucket of shit and just throw it. Why? Whenever you want. That's it. This is YouTube, or this is X, or just throw your shit. Hey, your box. Have you thrown your shit? No. Well, what's the matter with you? He's gone through 2 boxes. He's got better numbers than you. Well, there we go. That's it. Throw it. And did you throw your Candace shit there too? You're not attacking Candace? No. What's the matter with you? He's got twice your numbers because he's throwing the right shit. You're just sitting back and you're trying, I'm only coming. You don't understand this. This is a riot. This is just people screaming and yelling and saying the same thing, and I want transparency. This one Jadrul, I can't believe it. What a moron. A moron. He says we should have transparency. Well, Charlie's parents want transparency. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate this. Mrs. And Mr. Kirk, are you sure you want everything coming out regarding Charlie? I mean, everything? No. So, with all due respect, we have a kind of a dress code, so to speak, relevant material. We can't let stuff out that is either privileged, irrelevant, or that could ultimately affect the defendant's ability to have a new trial. A friend says, my friend Michelle Hebert says, I haven't seen much evidence from the defense. Is the preliminary mostly for the prosecution to bring in evidence? The newbie here. Welcome. Well, here is the story. It's a very, very good question. And one of the reasons is that, yes, this is a prosecution duty to establish probable cause. That is it. Absolutely incredible. Hang on. Let me see. There we go. Oh, a friend of mine just sent me something to me now, which is very interesting. Ooh, look at this one. Seth Rich update. We'll get to that later. I don't want to do. There's so much great stuff here. But let me go back to your question. I'm sorry. I tend to get ahead of myself sometimes. I tend to get rather excited about this. This is a prosecution thing. This really is. This is a prosecution story. It's about the prosecution. It's about them establishing this stuff. The defense is not, could theoretically say, wait a minute, Judge, this is so terrible, where the judge might say, you know what, you're right. You haven't established probable cause. I'm going to deny it. You can go home. I'm not going to hold you. You can go to a grand jury, do something else, but you're holding him in trial. He goes home. It's not that they dismiss the charges, but they say, you haven't even established probable cause to go forward. That's it. Remember, I say again, all they had to do was go to a grand jury. We wouldn't have heard any of this. Because the grand jury determines probable cause. And the reason why is in order to indict, you have to have probable cause. Now remember, all this stuff that's here, this is great stuff. Did Neff contact this? Was the bald-headed guy in the car with Tyler? Were they TPUSA? Why did he meet? Why is Colvin changing his tune? Did he receive money? By the way, Candace is brilliant. Brilliant. She's trolling them. She has a sarcastic side, which is just glorious. Judas, 30 pieces of silver. She knows exactly what to say, and they fall for it. And it has nothing to do with the preliminary hearing. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is doing it. My friend Amy Abati says, TPUSA wants it all out, except for the autopsy, except for the Aspen video. They only ask for that to be TPUSA is going down the drain. Yes, because, absolutely. TPUSA. Listen, there is no TPUSA. Now, I didn't want to bring this one up, but a friend of mine says, Officer Tatum is a moron with no credibility. I've got to tell you something. I don't know who was the person who says, you'd be good at this. What? You would be. At what? Explaining things, legal things. You'd be really good. You've got a way with words. You present yourself well. I swear to you, I feel like embarrassed for his family. Do you understand what this is? This guy is de starura. Not good. We're not talking about the sharpest drawer. And I'm not going to mention some others, but somebody had mentioned this, and I got to say, I don't understand this. This is a fellow, this Tatum, suggested that if this was the mic here, if this was the idea, if this course is black, that a 30-06 round would fit in here, is like, no, it's a shaped charge, if that's what it is. No. I want to go back to something. I want to go back. I want to explain something. Okay? Mark Lane, as I mentioned, Mark Lane and others, before the Zapruder, created what is now called a group of people who gave birth to the JFK conspiracy theory crowd. And all of that today, by the way, nobody today believes it wasn't a conspiracy. Nobody believes the Lee Harvey Oswald story. Nobody. Oh, they got that Posner dude, but he's case closed. I mean, it's a great angle. My good friend Roger Stone, his theory is that he's more of a Mac Wallace LBJ. Okay, fine, but he sure as hell doesn't believe in the Lee Harvey Oswald story. So remember, this was considered nuts, crazy, out of your mind. Today, it's nothing. Dylan Avery, I had the privilege of meeting him when I was at Cooper Union. Dylan Avery came up with still the greatest video. This was 25, almost years ago. Loose Change. Loose Change was almost like JFK, Oliver Stone, on a different realm, if you will. Absolutely incredible. Incredible. Changed everything. And what was considered, and they told us, you're out of your mind. And I said, why are people in New York City? Why? You who say never forget, you who have all these firefighters and people who died, why don't you want to get to the truth? And I'll never forget it. That's what's happening here. Why don't you want to find out what's true? Now, 25 years later, people are saying, something's up with that one. Why don't people want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk? Don't tell me some leftist tranny. And what they do is, they do this merely to support your bucket of shit, your crowd. And you want to figure some new way. So you get some little chippy. She does her hair. I'm sorry. She sits in her car. She tries to, jump cut it and whatever. Am I looking sexy? Okay. She's going to repeat for the millionth time how Candace is demonic. And the reason why she's doing it is to catch the bandwagon, to be a part of this, so that she can say, okay, I'm a part of the bandwagon. Do you really believe she's demonic? I don't even know what the hell demonic means. I'm just saying this because that's what everybody's saying. And whatever they say, I say. Period. End of discussion. It's one of those things which blows me away. I can't believe what I'm seeing. A friend of mine, Insight, wrote, it just appears to me that whoever is responsible is doing everything they can to patch it up, to patch up an event that has gone incredibly wrong. Well, that's a very interesting insight. And also, God bless new members to my group. It's an interesting insight. And the reason why that's an interesting insight is because of the fact that, yes, that's what's happening. Let me make it even more simple. There are people who don't care one lick about this. They don't care about Charlie getting Charlie's murderer. They don't care about anything. They love the scrum. They love the hate. A friend of mine from Ireland came one time, and we moved to Queens, Sunnyside, or wherever it was, and he said, I want to root for a team. He said, well, you should be a Met. Vote for that. Rooting for the Mets. Why? Because the Yankees are horrible, and it's not about the team or who's good. It's about the people you like. So he went to, it was Shea Stadium then. He goes, hey, I like these guys. The Mets are kind of like, we're always losing. You know what? I like it. Had nothing to do with the team, nothing to do with the Mets, Tom Seaver. No. It was just, I like this. I like this group. I like this. And if you're a Yankee fan, you hate the Red Sox, and the Red Sox hate the Yankees. And if you're in New York, the Dominicans hate the Puerto Ricans, and vice versa. And you got to have somebody to hate. This is professional wrestling. This is the heel. So what you do is you have this group. And by the way, the guy who they never talk about, another great new member. You know who they never talk about? Barron. Barron brings the receipts. Barron sits there and shows you they don't. And I don't know why. Barron is one of the, I don't know who's smarter, but who knows more than anybody. There was a great piece with my good friend Buckley Carlson. We're going to get old Uncle Buck on here at the end of the month. But they have, it's some of the most incredibly and assiduously researched information. It's just wonderful, wonderful. And what they've done is they just forgot him. They just forgot him. So I don't know what it is. It's a part of a scrum. You've seen the birds move. Candace Owens is and she's beautifully and articulately nasty. She comes after you. She kicks you, not in the nuts, but kicks you in the nuts, sticks her thumb in your eye, pops you on the side of your head so you're disoriented, and then hits you with a lint brush. She just doesn't say something. She comes at you and just destroys you. And you're just left like a bug over a match. Like, I've never seen anything like it. She's one of the, it's going to go down. Let me tell you something. There is nobody who has inspired such love and or hate. Like, you can't believe this. And she doesn't care what anybody thinks. And she genuinely, actually, truly loves, this is not romantic, but loves Charlie. Like she told me, she's like her little brother. Charlie is a brilliant guy, but there was a part of Charlie that was not impish. I don't know, but it was like a kid, like a wide-eyed kid who ultimately would be done in by his own innocence. My friend says, OMG, make this description into a short, please. What description? Anyway, we'll be doing some shorts. Thank you, dear friend. Now, Mark Lane, Dylan Avery, Richard Gage, architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, absolutely mainstream now. Vietnam, Gulf of Tonkin, that's bullshit. NSA approved it throughout history. And if listen, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. what Candace is bringing up is simply this. If you're going to do this, let me start off by saying, is it possible that this was in fact, is it possible, I ask again, is it possible that this was contrived? That maybe, work with me on this, that maybe Tyler was kind of a dupe, got in over his head, was involved in something that was really, you sure about this time? I don't know. Okay. Who knows? He's a great guy to. Oh. Do you know, as we speak, and I'm not using the word Fed slop, I don't think this is a Fed, because remember, you don't have to come up with anything. I don't know who's who. Is this Israel? I don't know. You figure it out. It's not my story, it's your story. You tell me. You tell me what this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know. I don't know. But this is the best part, and I mean this. You're going to have to get certain people, many people who even look like other people. Do you know that there were people who looked, they said, like Lee Harvey Oswald? Do you know on the date of 9/11/2001, do you know all of the, how do I say this? Do you know all of the, how do I say this? All of the people who were involved in maneuvers and drills and, how do I say this? On the day of 9/11. There was Operation Vigilant Freedom, Operation whatever it was. Like 40, 30 on the same date. Are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with this? Okay. Why? You always have multiple people confusing. You also want to have drills so they can go hot. That's one of the best ones ever. If you're going to have a bank robbery, the best time to have a bank robbery is during the days when you're doing bank robbery drills. So if Candace says there were people wearing maroon shirts, we have a thing in New York, other people have as well, called uniform, a color of the day. And they used to have it a lot in transit cops. In the old days, the transit cops were different from the regular cops. And the cops were so good at undercover, they wore something, a bandana, a color, it's called color of the day. This is the oldest thing in the book. So what Candace is saying is look for people who were there to confuse. Do you know that during the days of the IRA, this is good too, I knew a bunch of these people. Wow. And they would say, this is very interesting, you never knew, how do I say this? You never knew who they were. A dear friend of mine says, Charlie was Truman. This is my friend Insight. He says, Charlie was Truman and Candace was removed from him by the Daily Wire. Hint, hint. He was supposed to be groomed to be a puppet. Look closely. Oh, the Daily Wire is so sinister. This is why they're done. They're done. They went the way of Grit. Remember Grit magazine? I'll never forget when I was a Cub Scout for like an hour. And I said, the hell with this. But they had Boys Life or something, and you could sell grit. So what the hell is grit? And you could throw it in your bicycle. You go, what is grit? Anyway, there was like one of those magazines that are like Look magazine. That's what the Daily Wire was. A friend of mine says, L. Crockett says, Owen Benjamin has great videos comparing, the fiasco to the Thomas Crown affair. Owen Harrison is deadly genius, funny, brilliant. Absolutely perfect. Multiple maroon shifts, skinny jeans, baseball caps, Dodge Chargers. The feds are running the same script here. Love you as well. It's not, it's like a script, but see, let me go back to one thing. And let's make sure we understand something here. It is not the feds, it's everyone. It is not, it is not the feds. It's the intel group. When you work for someone, you don't get a paycheck from the CIA, from the DIA. You don't get it from Navy Intel. That's like when it comes to UAPs and UFO stuff. You don't know who's who. You don't know, is this private industry? What is this? Who's who? It's the same. You're not going to, we want plausible deniability. We don't want groups here, but there are themes, there are whatever, people. And the problem is simply this. If there is going to be somebody somewhere that you would like to have removed, you sure as hell better absolutely find yourself that everybody's on the same page. You got to make sure everybody's on the same page so that you don't walk in one day with a gun or a rifle and you don't have color of the day. For example, a little side note. In New York years ago, there was this police officer who shot a police officer himself because the police officer either didn't have a color of the day visible enough or something happened. And Rudy Giuliani was accused of going into the hospital room where this guy was he was like on dope. And he said, and you forgive him, right? The officer that shot you, your fellow officer? See? And they're shaking hands like this. And they said, oh, come on, Rudy. But it was the color of the day. You don't want people to be screwed up. If you're gonna have this dude, okay, there, and you're gonna say, if there's some faction, work with me. It's happened a million times in American and world history. But if there's somebody who says, we want to take this guy out, this Charlie Kirk, we better make sure everybody knows what we're doing. Because if all of a sudden you have people with rifles or whatever, and you didn't tell anybody, you didn't coordinate this on your own, if this happened, I'm not saying it did, but if it happens, you don't think coordinated efforts are, you don't, what, and with all due respect, and we love Candace to death, and she will be the first one to admit it, say, Candace, this is axiomatic. And she'll say, I know. What she's saying, it's not even remember something. The Marshall McLuhan said that little lies are hard to keep secret. Little lies. You always get out. But big lies are easy because of your incredulity. Do you know that when 9/11, people said, do you mean people would actually bring down our own buildings? No. Yes. Do you mean there are people who would deliberately wire something like that, knowing there's innocent people in there? Yes. Do you think there are people who might have orchestrated, contrived, precipitated World War II through this attack on Pearl Harbor? Yes. There's LIHOP, MIHOP, LIHOP, MIHOP. Let it happen on purpose. Make it happen on purpose. Sometimes the best conspiracies are knowing something's going to happen and not intervening. Everything that Candace is saying, without endorsing it, because I don't know, nothing's far-fetched. Nothing. Nothing's demonic. Nothing's anti-Semitic. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But what these people have done is they have come down to simply this. And I keep asking these people, and there's one guy, there's one lawyer who just, I am shocked. I mean, you always want to act. I mean, lawyers kind of like for example, imagine you're a first class world oncologist and you're weighing in and you're saying, well, there's always prayer. And you say, excuse me, dude, as the kids would say, I know God, but you're an oncologist. You sound kind of like a civilian here. I know, but the power of prayer. Wait a minute. They want to talk about, chemotherapy and tamoxifen and blah, blah, blah. What do you, that's what this fellow is. This guy's so good. But yet it's like, did they pay you off? Or did you just become a part of this cult? We were talking the other day about Scientologists. And Scientologists are in Clearwater, Florida. And Clearwater is across the Tampa Bay, the actual bay, from Tampa. It's Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Pinellas, it's the West Coast. And I've been there many, many times, Clearwater. And the Scientologists are there. And people are saying, how are these people, how are these normal people in a cult? I said, we have cults all the time. Some are different. I know people who, very frankly, were in some factions of the Catholic Church. Not that it was sanctioned by the Catholic Church, but they were into this weird. They were weird. So you ever meet the Opus Dei people? I'm not saying they're bad, but some people are charismatics. Everybody's got this. The Yankees, Cubs fans, they're just, depending upon your group. And there is an anti-Candace cult. And it's this, CDS is Candace derangement syndrome. There's TDS, CDS. There's been nobody like her. Alex Jones, at his prime, was never like this because the internet is bigger. The internet is enormous. It takes the simplest little, give you an analogy. I'll never forget. There was a doctor who said, here's why, kids, you shouldn't be injecting IV drugs. Okay? Here's why. If you're just a little bit off with your mixture, you put it in here, and it's like the fastest superhighway there is. When you stick it in your leg, IM, intramuscular, well, it takes a while. And if you swallow it, well, it takes a while. Even if you smoke it, it kind of has to go through your lungs and your alveoli. But when you put it in your veins, it's at the speed of light, and you're dead. Like that. Because it's so fast. It's so big. It's so one little pow. That's the internet. A little meme, a little idea, a story, a video, an expression, a phrase, a trend can go viral so fast. And there's nothing that people love more than hate. Give me something to hate. Love is boring. Love can make you happy. Peace and love. Shut up with that peace and love. Give me something to hate. And internet and X and YouTube is great for people who hate. And they hated Trump. I can't stand it. Take it easy. You can't come to my Christmas party because you like Trump. Who are you? I don't know, but you kiss. I've never seen racist. The anti-Semites? I will tell you this much. I saw somebody, I know, you wouldn't know them as a friend, who went from, as far as I'm concerned, I think Israel might be a little heavy-handed when it comes to Gaza. Now she's, and the Zionists got shut off, the lion, they cheat, and the Jews, and this. Wait a minute. What happened to you? And she's not really anti-Semitic. She's in this thing. She's like in a cult. It's fun. It's the IV. What happened to you? I don't know. I'm just crazy about this. And somebody will say, what's the matter with you? Some people are okay, some people aren't. And Candace Owens is that, I don't know if she's the bloodstream or the chemical or whatever it is, but she has hit a nerve like nobody's business. And then there was this guy this morning, this idiot, who always look. Excuse me. I don't want to talk about people's looks. You know, whether people are handsome or pretty. I don't care about that. But sometimes there are people who they look like their goldfish died. Like their whole life is over. Always, this one guy. What's the matter with you? I just wish there was more transparency. Transparency? When we used to pick juries, they pretty much did. But there was a time when I first cut my teeth. We had voir dire was the best. You had such free range. And I used to love it. It was like stand-up comedy. I loved it. You could do. I argued my case. I did everything you're not supposed to do. But there's no. I mean, it was wonderful. Judges would sit back, one judge would do his checkbook. I swear to God. And I asked a woman one time, I said, Mrs. So-and-so, you understand that I have what is called a peremptory charge, a challenge. You know what that means? Right. I'm given a certain number of excuses where I can say, you, and you, get out. Send you on your way. And you probably want that now because you don't want to be here. And they would laugh. I said, and do you know why? They're called peremptory challenges. Some people say preemptory. No, it's peremptory. And the peremptory challenges are that I'm given different numbers. How many felony, how many counts? Is it the first? Okay, you get 12, you get 10, you get 6. I get. Then there are challenges for cause. As many as I want. I want to challenge him for cause because I don't want to use up my freebies, my peremptories. Why? Well, he's a defendant's relative, or he's a convicted felon. Okay, that's a good idea. But I asked this woman, I said, Mrs. So-and-so, do you know why I would ever want to excuse you? And I'm sure you're a fine person. Do you understand why? Yeah. Because I want jurors who see things my way. I'm not going to lie to you. And if I think you've got a predisposition against me or my client or whatever it is, I want you out of here. You understand that, right? Yeah. That doesn't bother you, does it? No, absolutely. And we used to say, and also during the course of this, do you know that sometimes we'll say, Your Honor, may we, by the way, it's an old joke. Whenever, especially if there's a new lawyer, he says, can I approach the bench? The trial lawyer says, the warrior says, can I come too, Judge? Yeah, because it's always, can we, not you, it's we. And every now and then somebody says, can I approach the bench? Can I come too? And then they'll tell the Madam Court reporter, no, wave them off. No, I don't want you to hear this. And Mrs. So-and-so. And do you know why we do that? Yes, because we don't want you to hear what we're saying. And there may come a time where we say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we want you to go back into that jury room. And we'll call you because we have some business. You know why? Because we don't want you to hear what we're doing. By the way, true story. One of the funniest moments. They had this, I forget whose case it was, but they told the jury, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to be taking some business outside of this court. We don't want you to worry yourself, but we got to do some business. It's no big deal. We just don't want you to be, you know what I mean? So we're going to send you into this courtroom, into this jury room. So please do not discuss the case. Do not talk about the case. Do not, whatever. But please, we're going to be back. Please. But don't talk about the case. Don't decide the case. Don't weigh the evidence. Just talk about the weather. Talk about whatever you want. Please. You understand? Yeah. Thank you. They went out. 5 minutes later, we hear, They had a verdict. 1 buzzer was for a question. 2 was a verdict. They had a verdict. The judge told them, don't talk about it. They were guilty. It's like, we're not even done with it. I swear to God, it's the funniest. So what happens is, I don't want you to hear. I'm going to make motions to suppress. I'm going to do a motion to exclude. I am going to do a motion to suppress evidence, to suppress confessions. I'm going to make a motion to strike. Just go down the list. Because I don't want you to hear everything. I don't want transparency. I don't know where this thing called transparency came from. It's one of those things that people say that they don't know what they're talking about. Now that's the God's honest truth. But this drool this morning is that I think the Charlie's family wants transparency. Okay, I understand that. You know, one transparency that'll get you a mistrial is if you have the whole statement and the defendant says, "I want a lawyer," and you say that. Oh, you're done. You're done. It's a mistrial. You commented on the defendant's right to remain silent. Directly or indirectly, you cannot comment on the defendant's right to remain silent. You cannot do that. If you do, oh, that's transparent. There was a guy one time who said something like, the defendant didn't take the stand. Forget with the cops. You can't even say that. They say there's two sides to every story. Well, you never guess with this guy. Well, Your Honor, may we approach the bench? Yes, we have a motion. Okay. Take the jury out. It's a mistrial, right? You want it? Yeah, you got it. End of discussion. There are certain things you can't say to a jury. The golden rule. How would you feel, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? How would you feel if your daughter was sold to the Hells Angels and blah, blah, blah? How would you feel if your mother's diamond ring was stolen? How would you feel? It's the golden rule. You don't ask it. Juries have to weigh evidence. You don't ask them, how would you feel? Another one for you. Don't ever say this. We want you to teach them. You send a message. We want you to find this defendant guilty, and you send a message to the pedophiles and the pederasts and the Canaanite that we're not going to take this anymore. Mistrial. Send a message? What are you asking them to be a legislature? So they say to themselves, well, I don't think the evidence shows that he was guilty, but I want to send a message. No. A law is absolutely, by the way, this is the most ridiculous. This is not about free stuff. Tell everybody what you want to know. Say everything and anything. No. And this guy has the right. This guy has the right to Tyler to have a fair trial. I think you should say, play it again. Play it again. Play it whenever you go. I'm not hiding anything. But I get to, there's certain things that we think might prejudice the jury or that are irrelevant. Some things just aren't relevant. Now, they don't understand this. Now, let me get down to brass tacks. Let me explain to you what's really the most important. This is it. Two things. Let's forget about the preliminary hearing. Just forget about the preliminary hearing. Let's talk about the trial. Let's talk about the trial. It's going to go ahead. Let's talk about the trial. This preliminary hearing. This is it. Two things. Number one. And this is it. If we don't know what killed Charlie, there ain't no trial. Let me ask you something. What if Charlie died of a heart attack? You know, it's funny. There's a legal issue that happens. What happens if somebody, like you push somebody down and during the course of this stress, he dies of a heart attack? But it wasn't direct. It was a result of. You know what I mean? Can you be charged with murder and say, well, you kind of got the ball rolling? Yeah. What if three people fired simultaneously into some poor guy and the guy died? Well, what if one of them missed? Doesn't matter. It's collective. You know, it's certain things we don't really know, but in this case, this is a gunshot case. And this is a gunshot case because they said, and they found the rag on the rifle. What rifle? The rifle that killed Charlie. Oh, the rifle that killed Charlie? Yes. Oh, okay. And we saw Tyler walking around with, apparently couldn't bend his leg. Why? Because he had the rifle down his leg. What rifle? The rifle that killed Charlie. And he took a screwdriver and he broke it down and put it back together again. Broke what down? The rifle that killed Charlie. Oh, so that's the rifle that killed Charlie? Yes. And they found DNA on the rag that covered the rifle that killed Charlie. And here's the rifle that killed Charlie. And he was talking, he says, hey, I got to get that rifle back. That's Granddaddy's rifle that killed Charlie. And the father said, hey, isn't that our rifle? Hey, was that you that killed Charlie? You got where I'm going? Great. Great. State your name for the record. Cleavon Demetrius. Thank you, Mr. Demetrius. What do you do? I'm with the A or BATF. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Mr. Demetrius, did you have the opportunity to inspect what's been marked as State's Exhibit number, whatever it is, the rifle that killed Charlie? Yes. Did you inspect it? Yes. Did you inspect the fragment, either of the casing, the jacket, or whatever it was, of the bullet, of the round that was found, theoretically, allegedly, in Charlie's neck? Yes. And based upon a reasonable degree of medical science, did you form an opinion as to whether that piece, that fragment in Charlie's neck came from that rifle? Because that's the only thing we have, is that this whatever this thing is. Did you form an opinion? Yes, I did. And what's that opinion? It's inconclusive. Wait a minute. You're telling me that you cannot connect the rifle that killed Charlie with killing Charlie? Yes. This is a lint brush. This cannot be linked to killing Charlie either. This lint brush is the same as that rifle. And I tried to tell this later. If they found a bazooka with Charlie's DNA on it and Junebug's DNA on it on a rag, and they broke down the bazooka, and he had the bazooka down his pants, and they took the bazooka up, or a flintlock, some Revolutionary War George Washington flintlock that he broke down, I don't know how you can do it. But there's no flintlock ballistic ball wound. There's no bazooka wound. And there's no nothing wound. We don't even know what this thing is. It's not connected. So you can have all the stuff you want. You can have as many confessions as you want. I don't care whether he changed his shirt, put his shirt on, wore 3 shirts, wore shorts, go-go shorts, Daisy Dukes. I don't care. There's no connection. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I don't know why he did this. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Is Tyler involved? I don't know. Is he a dumb shit? Maybe. Was he there? Could be. I don't know. Who cares? There's no rifle. There's no gun. You see this picture, ladies and gentlemen? See that guy? See that guy in the crowd? Yeah, that guy. I don't know who he is, but let's just look at him. He was there. He's not being charged with murder. You know why? Because there's no connection to him. Because he had no connection with the gun or the thing that killed Charlie. Neither did Tyler. Now, Tyler's no whiz-bang. Tyler's an idiot. He's a jadrul. I don't know. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know if he had a hard-on against her. I don't know. That's not what I'm here for. I don't know. Hell, half of the people on the internet are crazy lunatics. They got crazy ideas, but they're not. It's not against the law. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let me just go on. They better have something real interesting. Because unless they can come up with some kind of something that says, oh, by the way, you know, when we told you that we didn't have any information linking the rifle because of ATF, well, we lied. We do have the connection. It's this guy. It's this surprise witness. I don't know if you can do that. But then again, I don't know if discovery rules, frankly, come in. We rarely ever deal with cases before they're charged. This is weird. You know, it's a very interesting case. In fact, forgive me, but let me ask this. You know this. Let me tell you something. You can have all the ChatGPT is still the best for actually having citations. This is does Brady v. Maryland have any applicability to matters that are not charged, as in matters contained in a preliminary hearing, as in the case now involving Tyler Robinson? If the prosecution were to spring new evidence or new lab reports or new findings now at the preliminary hearing without letting the defense know, is this in any way a violation of Brady, and could charges be dismissed? See what I did? That's what I did. And why people just don't do it, it's kind of like it's the best Wikipedia. All right. So I hit send, because it's great. It sends you and make you think, oh, that's interesting. The short answer is not necessarily. Yes. My favorite is it depends. There are several related constitutional and procedural doctrines, but they operate differently. Brady against Maryland requires the prosecution to disclose material exculpatory or impeachment evidence in time for the defense to make effective use of it. Brady is generally understood as a trial right because its purpose is to ensure a fair trial. Courts have held that there is no standalone Brady violation merely because favorable evidence was not disclosed before a preliminary hearing. That said, if the prosecution discovers new evidence, such as a lab report or forensic analysis or witness statement, and intends to use it as a preliminary hearing, other rules come into play. State criminal discovery rules, due process, blah, 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 continue. Okay, so they could really be dicks. Oh, by the way, can I just give you a little bit of a little parlance? If you want to use the right, it's Brady v. Maryland. Don't ever say. If you want to be a member of the club and you want to show people, you know what I'm talking about, don't ever say V. Don't ever say versus. Say against. Law professors, Supreme Court justices, against. Roe against Wade. It's against. It means like, oh. There's always a parlance. Oh. And if you're really, so très chic cool that you're off the charts, you say and. Brady and Maryland. That is so weird. Like 4 people know that one. So just to let you know. Because somebody said, why do you say against? Because that's the way we say it. That's parlance. That's the when I was a kid and I had bladder surgery, they kept saying, did you void? I said, what? I was 13 years old. I void. Oh, and I pee? Oh, yeah. Why don't you say pee? Micturate? No, void. Why do you say void? Because that's the way we say it. We say these things. Did you have an event? Have an event. Sounds interesting. What do you mean an event? You know, so everything's got their, like somebody wanted, I didn't know this. Yeah, that two-top over there. I never knew what a two-top, it just was like, I didn't know waitress language. I didn't know what that meant. Two-top. Everybody's got their thing. So just to let you know about that. So let me just tell you something. Let me just keep going on with this. This is it. So you can talk about all this stuff you want. Tyler, you just said type, my friend. I don't give a shit what you did. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. I don't know how you got there. I don't know if you talked to anybody. I don't know if you talked to Blakey or this guy. I don't know. If you know Ben Shapiro, I don't know. All I know is that we don't have a gun. And unless they pull some surprise, they're going to say, well, we can't make a connection. That's it. Now, you tell me how you connect a gun when ATF has said, no, there's no connection. Well, it was there. So was the bazooka. Well, that's not a bazooka. And it wasn't that one either. This is the part, and a jury, ask yourself, would say, he's right. They didn't even plant the right gun. I mean, to be honest with you, did they think, wait a minute, hold it, I just thought of something. Do you think maybe the reason why they didn't care about all this was that he was supposed to be taken out? Kind of like that Butler dude? Do you think the reason why there's all these loose ends and these is because of the fact that they should have taken this guy out a long time ago? Do you think that maybe what this is really all about, he went and he wrote the Discord thing. Now, according to our friend Barron says he did this afterwards. Some people said he did it before. But anyway, so I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this guy, my client, he's really weird. Yeah, sorry there, Tyler. I mean, he tells his girlfriend. He tells people on Discord. He knows what this is. He confesses to this. Look I left this thing for you. Oh, okay. Now, let me tell you something. Does that make any sense to you? But when he shows up at the police, he doesn't say anything. Nothing. Miranda, I don't want to talk to you. I want to get a lawyer. I think somebody, he may not be there. And then, okay. And then when you hear things like, yeah, but Mom, Dad, I think I'm involved. Excuse me. Hate to be party pooper. Yeah, okay. Let's say he said, I did it. I killed him. Again, I'm the turd in the punch bowl here, but did it with what? I also killed John Kennedy. You do know that confessions mean nothing. They're okay to supplement things. You know what I mean? Like for example, if you find the dope, the heroin, the cocaine, the fentanyl, whatever it is, you then say, okay, that's mine. Hey, that corroborates finding the stuff. But if you say, I possessed it, what? The fentanyl. Where? The other day. The other day? Where is it? It's gone, but I had it. You had it? Yeah, I did. Here, take me away. I possessed it. It was a pound of fentanyl. I had it. Where is it now? I don't know. But I had it. Are they going to arrest him? No. But he confessed. And he told his mother. And his mother helped turn him in. But there's no fentanyl. But he said there was, but there's nothing there. It's almost corpus delicti. Corpus delicti does not mean body of the crime the way you think it means. Because you don't have to have a dead body, for example. People always think that. You got to have a dead body. You don't have to have a dead body. But this is different. You see what I'm saying? I don't give a damn what they do. I don't care who he talked to. Well, he told his friend. Told his friends about his mother about what? Well, he told him about what? There's no gun. There's a gun there. No, there's not. Why? ATF said they can't make a connection. There's no gun. It's a lint brush. It's nothing there. Yeah, but what? This 30-06 leaves this little hole here. This little tiny hole. Doesn't even exit We're not even going to get to that. I'm not even going to discuss that. I'm not even going to talk about that. I don't even care about that. There ain't no gun. There's no connection. It could have been a bazooka. The bazooka's not linked. A death ray, directed energy weapon, laser, nothing. That's it. I don't care who he talked with, maroon shirts, whether he was there. I don't know. I don't even know. Unless they're hiding something and they say, well, we got some other evidence. That's the most important thing. And let me also tell you something. Somebody said, hey, Candace, you're so crazy. Really? I'm crazy? Yeah, you're so crazy. There's no way there's no way the defense would ever want to talk to you because you're so crazy. Well, let me tell you what would be crazy. Is if the defense didn't talk to her. Remember when O.J. Simpson said, I have an 800 number? And my 800 number is designed to find the bad, the person who killed his wife. I have an 800 number. And if anybody knows, and people remember that, they called up OJ, they said, you did it. And they hung up and they had to disconnect the 800 number because people were saying, you did it, so I get the reward. If I represent you, I'm going to say, I'm going to talk to everybody. I don't care if you're a shaman, if you're some guy who is, you read tarot cards, or if you're a psychic channeler, I'm going to talk to everybody. And if somebody says to me, hey, what about this? Oh, and I would bring you wonderful people into my auditorium. I'd have pizza for everybody. And I'd say, let's talk about this. What do you think? And I want to get your opinion. As a layperson, what bothers you the most? You can say something that says, you know what? I heard a woman say, I forget who it was, who said something which is very interesting. I don't know where it went, but I never thought about it. She says, why is Erica wearing white? I forget where it was. Something, I forget what it was. Now, the point is that's not critical, but it was something I never thought of. So you listen to everybody. I had a friend of mine who was great, and he worked with black folks, he had businesses, and he wasn't a racist by any stretch of the imagination. He just knew the black community better than I did. And during the O.J. Simpson case, he said to me, it was O.J. Simpson said, he had that note. He said, I'm going to kill myself. I've got $25,000 in a note, and I'm going to kill myself. And he said, he's not going to kill himself. No, he might kill somebody else, but no. He said, black folks don't kill themselves. Now, he made this comment. And when I said this later on, the first person who I told this to is a white person. He goes, oh, you're racist. Black folks, I've said, is, he's right. They don't kill themselves. For this? For being charged with a criminal? Wait a minute, what? I don't want to read too much into this, but he's explained to me, he says, in the black community, every black person knows somebody, either directly or indirectly, who may have been charged incorrectly or unfairly. If black folks killed themselves every time they were charged, there wouldn't be any black. But the point is, it was a perspective, whether you like it or not. I never thought about this. I never understood. One time, John Douglas, you know, the profiler for the FBI. I was talking to him one time, and he said, I don't think John Ramsey did it at all. I said, why? He said, let me tell you. He asked when John Ramsey found the body of John Bonet, he took John Bonet out, and he carefully, he took, baby's dead, but he took the baby, little girl, and he like very carefully put her on made sure he like would move things out of the way like she was alive. He said, murderers don't do that. They don't do that. They don't do this. The baby was alive, or things I never would have noticed. During the Hillside Strangler, remember that? Bianchi and Buono, remember Kenneth Bianchi? Remember him? He said he was suffering from, he had different personalities. And then somebody was watching him one time. Nobody knew anything about this, but they had either a hypnotist or somebody on. And he was watching, he goes, up! You see that? He goes, what? He said, play that again. So they played the interview, and he says, I forget what it was. He goes, oh, do you want a handkerchief? He goes, yeah. So he hands him a handkerchief. He goes, up! During hypnosis, you don't hand people things. They don't see you. You can't get somebody in hypnosis to draw something. He goes, he's faking it. The point of all of this is that there are things that you as a juror will say that I would listen to. And the defense isn't talking to Candace Owens. The defense, maybe they have, I don't know. Doesn't send an investigator say, listen, do me a favor. Candace, my name is so-and-so. I represent Tyler Robinson. I want to tell you right now, I think you're full of shit. But you talk to millions of people, and you might have something that I might need. And I have sworn that I'm going to do everything in my power. And if you can add anything to this, I will listen. Is there anything you want me to know? Is there anything you've noticed? I got the maroon shirts. Forget that. What else you have? And you can listen to them and say, thank you very much. And that's it. You're not talking to her. She has 6 million subscribers on YouTube. 6 million plus. There are people, she's got a tips line. Do you have a tips line? No. She's got one. She has a number of them. And you're not talking to her? Wait a minute. You're not talking to the Dorothy Kilgallen of her years, of her generation? Are you kidding me? That is malpractice. That is, if it's true, something tells me, they may not be, listen, we never had this conversation. Okay. But do you think Candace Owens likes Tyler Robinson? No. Do you think she just, I mean, let's face it, she would love anything to stick it in the eye of TPUSA. But do you think that's really what this is about? Do you think she just said, whoever their suspect is, I'm against it? No. Nope. Because when this case made sense, Candace didn't say, he didn't do it. It's like, wait a minute, hold it, stop. Nobody knew anything then. And when you have immediately this thing called an assassination, your elevation, your expectation changes. This isn't some domestic thing. You start to say, oh, this sounds familiar. The fact that it is an assassination, the word assassination is different than murder because it means that you stop somebody because of their political beliefs. Something, you don't, if you go down the street and you see some homeless guy and you take him out, that's not technically an assassination. That's a murder because it wasn't because of the person's stature or whatever it is. Now, last but not least, the most critical evidence and the person who better be under absolute protective custody is Junebug. Lance Twiggs. This guy, gal, they had better understand. You had better This guy can ruin everything. Oh. Do you understand what this is? Imagine this. How old is, let me see. How old is Lance? Something tells me old Lance isn't that old. Well, let me see something. Hang on a minute. I'm going to find this now. I asked my friend, how old is Lance Twiggs? And how old was Charlie? And how old was Tyler Robinson at the time of the crime? I always like to get a perspective. Because remember when you were like in your 20s, 30s? It's like forever. I was like, wow. But Lance Twiggs is 22 years old. Multiple reports. Multiple reports identified Twiggs as 22 during the investigation. Charlie Kirk, 31. He was 31. Tyler Robinson, 22. He was born in 2003. Okay. So at the time of the crime, Charlie was 31, 22, and 22. Okay. So this was last year. Now, do you know what's going to happen when this kid, Tyler, takes the stand? And he has never, maybe he had a speeding ticket. Maybe. He's probably never been in court before. I don't think so. He's never been a main witness in this. The biggest murder case in how long? And he's the main guy? He's the one who heard the confession, which I hasten to repeat, may not mean anything if there's no gun, but work with me. This was the lover. This was, pillow talk and everything. All right? And this guy takes the stand. And all of a sudden, somebody walks up to him and says, well, Mr. Twiggs, how are you today? And automatically you're saying like, whoa, this guy means business. Is that objectionable? No. Maybe the well, but good morning. They call me Mr. Twiggs. Before we begin, you're under oath, correct? Yes. And you know what that means, right? Yeah. But I've got to get into the 800-pound gorilla, Mr. Twiggs. Yeah. You were granted immunity, weren't you? Yeah. What's the story behind that? Objection. What do you mean objection? Because you know this coming. Objection. He doesn't know it? He can't testify his own immunity? You don't think that's relevant for the jury to know? Overruled. Very good. Mr. Twiggs, proceed. What's the story behind that? Isn't it true? Now, you're supposed to ask leading questions only and all that stuff, but for purposes of this. What did they tell you faced initially? Did they mention anything about, they don't have accessory after the fact, but harboring a fugitive, obstruction of justice, destruction of conspiracy to destroy evidence, get rid of this, don't talk to the cops. Did they tell you about that? Yeah. But you don't face that anymore, do you now? Mr. Twiggs, do you? No, you don't. Why? Because he granted you immunity. Use immunity. Meaning they wouldn't use anything you were saying against you. But if they had proof of your involvement elsewhere, they could do that. Right? Right? Isn't that right? Yeah, you better believe that's right. Uh-huh. So how long did you and Tyler, by the way, that's Tyler right there, isn't it? Yeah. And you want them to look at each other. And if they don't, jury's watching that. It's a weird thing. They were lovers. Now, you can't go into the fact that, so you're gay, but I'd love to get somehow, you're a fuzzy. I want the guy to be a nut. My goal is to make him say, you're a nut. And may I ask, and by the way, the judge will give great leeway. For example, if somebody says, you're an alcoholic, aren't you? Objection. Well, I just want to make sure whether he remembers at the time this happened. And alcoholism, okay. You don't see very well. Objection. Well, he's an eyewitness, literally. If I said to you, Mr. I'm going to show you something right now. This is a picture of you. Is this a true and accurate depiction? Yes. Who is this? This is you, isn't it? Yeah. And you're standing next to Mr. Robinson. Is that correct? Yeah. What's that thing you're wearing on your head? What is that? What do you call that? It looks to me like it was warm, judging by the clothing. Yeah, short sleeve. It looks like it was warm when this was taken, but yet you've got this wool cap. What is this? What is this? What is this called? What was it? Fuzzy? What are you? Wuzzy? Fuzzy? Wuzzy? What does that mean? You're a fuzzy? What's a fuzzy? Whatever the hell it is. I let the jury from Utah, Provo, say, what the hell is a fuzzy? I've heard of gays, I've heard of, strays and lesbians, lesbians. I've never heard of a fuzzy. What is that? Because I've heard you say that. Is this, did you meet Tyler was Tyler a fuzzy? You're a fuzzy. What is a fuzzy? And all of a sudden they're saying, what the hell is a fuzzy? Already people say lunatic. Okay? Now, does that mean that Tyler's a lunatic? Maybe. Which kind of destroys the whole mastermind theory, doesn't it? Yeah, this guy, the fuzzy, he decided he's going to be an expert marksman all of a sudden. By the way, with a gun that was never connected to the murder. But details. And all of a sudden, over a period of time, you realize that this guy's a nut. This guy's a nut. And he heard what did you hear exactly? What did you hear? Did he ever say, yeah, I did it? I did it. Now, let me throw this in, okay? Work with me on this, because this is tough. If the judge proves or rules that there is no connection, or no connection can be made between the Mauser 98 and any kind of wound or bullet or fragment recovered, what are they going to introduce in evidence? I would move to suppress, to keep, forget the transparency, but to suppress the rifle. To suppress it. Why? Why are you introducing into evidence a rifle that isn't connected to the scene? Why? It's not connected. You're going to show them a rifle with a scope and, oh God, JFK, the man, the Carcano, I remember that. Has nothing to do with this. So the judge says, you're right, I'm going to suppress it. And by the way, I also want you to grant a motion in limine. I don't want anybody talking about a rifle. Now, there is no rifle, and you can't talk about it. Now, why do I do that? Why do I do that? Because I'm just setting a trap for mistrial. The prosecution has to bring all the witnesses on and say, whatever you do, don't say rifle. What? Don't bring up the rifle. Why? Can't. Okay. And you know that our friend Lance is going to slip. And I said, what did he tell you? Who? Tyler. What did Tyler tell you? Well, Tyler said can you get the rifle? Mistrial. Direct violation of motion limiting. Wait a minute, you brought him up. No, I didn't. I said, what did he tell you? Now, if I were to say, did he mention a rifle? Yeah, well, that's a different story. I'm going to say. But if I said, what did he say? Well, that's your fault, Mr. Prosecutor. You should have told your witness not to bring him up. That's an old favorite. You could just set people up. You can't say this, and this, and you know they're going to say it. Because what did he say? He said, don't talk to anybody? Okay. Anything else? This case is a dog. It's a dog. And this is a preliminary hearing. Now, let me ask you something. Do you think cases get better or worse? If the preliminary hearing, which is normally so strong to begin with, if this thing sucks, you think the trial is going to be better or worse? When that jury is there, and it's a whole nother thing. Ooh, it's showtime now. Do you think all this stuff is going to kind of work together and seal up and work? It's going to get worse because the pressure's on and it's scarier. This is a preliminary hearing. That's bullshit. There's no jury. Make a mistake. Objection. So what? Not this one. No, no, no. And I wonder how much of this stuff is even going to be brought in. How much at the trial, how much are you going to see that you never saw during here? You see, my emphasis is the trial. This other Ben Shapiro, I don't give a shit about Ben Shapiro or Colvin. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Forgive me. I hope it doesn't bother you because I don't care. Ben Shapiro means nothing to me. Daily Wire, that's gone. They're trying to raise money. It's like Look magazine, for God's sake. TPUSA, that thing's it's over. They're just quibbling back and forth and yelling at Candace. Candace is great. Candace is like, she is a rodeo clown, meaning she's the barrelman. She's like, hey, over here. What? It's me, Candace. Hey, she's the red flag. They're going crazy with her. She's wonderful. She's driving them crazy. They can't ignore her. They can't. They can't. This case is a dog. I hope you understand this. I want to hear about, you got the rival and you got the confession. This is the confession. Now, what are they going to do? Are they going to actually, seriously, they're going to, listen to this, they're going to subpoena Tyler's mom and dad to testify against their son? Oh, that looks like really low rent. That looks like low rent. That's very dangerous stuff. Very. You've subpoenaed the mother and father? Oh, come on. Come on. And by the way, he could have said something. You know, it's hard to say this, but one of the reasons why he said, listen, mom and dad, I may have been involved in something. I think I was set up. Okay, I was there, but I'm stupid. I'm 22 years old. I didn't think they would pin a murder on me. I wasn't there to kill anybody. I was there because I thought it'd be kind of fun, kind of whatever it is. And they maybe paid me. Who knows? I don't even know what he's going to say. I have no idea what he's going to say. But the bottom line is a jury could listen to this and say, this is the worst thing there is. How did you do this? How in the name of God would you possibly do this? Bring a child, bring a parent. And by the way, there is no parent, son or parent, child privilege. There's a husband and wife privilege, clergyman penitent privilege, attorney-client privilege, psychotherapist patient privilege. By the way, as an aside, make sure when you go to your physician and you tell your physician, yeah, my arm's like what? Well, I caught a bullet during an attempted robbery. You know, that's not privileged. Now, this magical HIPAA thing, I never understood this. But there are certain privileges. Husband and wife has testimonial privilege. There's a couple of, it has a double protection. But parents and child, no. And people, juries don't like that. You know, imagine mom up there, I'm sorry. And I want to say, hey, Mrs. Robinson, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. What? It's no gun. I don't care what he could confess to the Lindbergh kidnapping. It doesn't matter. Anyway, my friends, do you have a thorough and a complete understanding of what's going on right now? I think so. I think so. That's all I want to do. I want to make you understand what's going on. The legal part of it. I can't help you with the rest. I don't really care. That other stuff, I never got into Neff and but this is big. And this case is a dog. And I know nobody wants to tell you that. Oh, but because something tells me they should have before, and they never thought they'd ever have to go through with it. But I don't know. I'm just speculating. That's just me. I'm just spitballing. That's what I say. Ooh, good, yeah. Oh, yeah. Kind of Yeah. I can tell by the humidity. Yeah, that's good. Imagine that during the trial. And, Your Honor, hey, oh, not me, sir. No way. And Mrs., your name is FBI. Hey, fire in the hole. Incoming. Hit the deck. When you hit the bridge, wave. Wear a long coat, nobody will notice. All right. So, my friends, thank you. First of all, thank you for following Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. It means so much. She has a new one up today. Did you hear about this House of Horrors in Ohio? Did you hear about this? The House of Horrors. This is, oh my God, you have got to hear. Let me just tell you this much. This was one that, look at this. They're trying to limit her ad money on this, and this is a story in the news. She's just telling you about stories in the news. Do me a favor. This is it right now. Just follow this link right now. Watch her video on this. It's just, you can't believe it. Okay, you understand this? Okay, Monica Solera says, Tyler Robinson's parents saw that he was a person of interest on TV and told him to turn himself in. Being involved doesn't mean he's a killer. Oh, absolutely. You were correct about that. And not only that, which is interesting, more importantly, it doesn't mean anything in terms of admission, because especially when they say, well, the reason why we were going to do it was we were afraid that he was going to be killed, that the police would see him. He's doing it to save his own life. He's not doing it because, in fact, here's the point. If he wanted to admit, why not, while he's there, say, oh, yeah, by the way, I did it? Who turns themselves in and says, I'm not going to talk to you? The only reason you do that is if you're turning yourself in to protect yourself. If you're going to turn yourself in to confess, you confess. Nobody turns themselves in just for the 3 meals, 2, 3 hots and a cot or whatever. No, he's turning himself in to save his life. That's the story. So it's a very, 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 very good point. So we know what's going on. So anyway, please follow Mrs. L. I've got the link right there. Please do that. Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. Also, like this video. My friends, I can't tell you enough. We are so. See, nobody wants me. Nobody's reaching out for me. You think Megyn Kelly or somebody, what? They don't want me. They don't want me. Maybe I'm not big enough. Or maybe they don't like what I'm going to say. Because I know what I'm talking about. Who is that? Is that you? Who's doing that? Maybe I'll do that on Megyn. Megyn, pardon me. Ooh, maybe it's the lights. I swear to you, I'm going to do that. I'm telling you right now. Believe me when I tell you this. Right there. Because the lavalier mic is there. Right there. I will be so viral. Right there. In the middle of it. Right there. People would be. Of course, they probably stop it. But then again, if they're smart, they'll let it go. In any event, thank you. Please like the video. Subscribe. Oh, how long before the Tyler trial is dropped? No way. We'll put it this way. If it is, they're not going to drop it. They're going to beg for a plea. Please. I'll tell you what, we'll give you manslaughter. Just go away. Maybe that. Dropping it? No way. Hand farts, baby. That's it. Who stepped on a duck? Carpet frog. Wait a minute. Hold it. Hey. Megyn, I think that ultimately there is a problem that we have. So anyway, thank you so much, my friends. And also, please like the video and subscribe, because for reasons I do not understand, sometimes people who are subscribed are unsubscribed. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Have a great and a glorious day. We'll see you later on this eve. I don't know when, but make sure you hit that little bell so you're notified of live feeds and the like, which is very, very critical. Very, 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 very critical. Make sure you do this, because I may just, who knows, in the middle of the day, I may say, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to do this. And please do me a favor. Watch this video. Just look at the thumbnail. The thumbnail tells you everything. This is called How Can This Happen? The House of Horrors in Ohio. It's horrible. And Mrs. L talks about that, right? There it is right there. So follow her. All right, my friends, thank you. Wasn't this great? An hour and 45 minutes because you deserve the best. And I promise you, ain't nobody saying what I'm saying. Nobody. They're talking about this. They're talking about Candace. And they're talking about Blake. Who? Or you got that poor Tatum, poor guy. Mishkino, this guy, he doesn't know what the hell's going on here. But I do, and I'm going to tell you because I love you. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Ta-ta.